This is a show about jewelry, why we wear it, why it matters, how it's made, and what it means. I'm Alex D, and I turn cannabis into gold. I make mind-blowing jewelry in gold, silver, and platinum from cannabis plants here in Canada for stage, screen, for people who want to rock crazy jewelry. I'm the Cannabis Goldsmith. So, what an enormous amount of work I've done this week. I've done so much work. I've been recording videos of myself, and I'm not a person used to being recorded on video or even photographed. I hate being photographed. As a photographer, deep in my soul, I photographed other people my whole life, in earlier iterations of careers as a magazine photographer, magazine publisher. In a previous life, I've taken a lot of photos, but I hate getting my own photo taken. Maybe that's just some kind of block I got to get over, I thought. So I started shooting pictures of myself and then video and said, okay, I'm eventually going to take this podcast to video. I hate doing video. I mean, it's an entirely other skill. So I've had to practice over and over, recording myself, watching it, deleting it, over and over. And I've been doing this for a long time, and I'm getting a tiny bit better at it. But I can see that these people that are on TV all the time doing, or like newsreaders or it's a skill that they've developed over time. And they've honed it so it looks like it's easy, but it's not easy. But once you've mastered it, it's easy. So don't think these people are doing any extra work on TV because they've already learned the skill and they've adopted it into their character or adapted it or whatever, and now they can do it without much effort. No struggle at all. But me, I'm still struggling. But this is a show about jewelry and art and design and what it takes to make that. It's an inside look at my process as an artist as I make amazing jewelry pieces in precious metals from the cannabis plant here in Canada. I take cannabis plants and model them in special materials, plastics and waxes, and then we cast those into gold and silver and platinum products like rings, bracelets, earrings. We do all kinds of great traditional jewelry pieces, but with a cannabis vibe. And since we work directly with live plants in the design, it makes the designs amazing, I gotta say. Just go on our website and look, tribe.ca. You'll see some of what we've done. All our work is custom, by the way. So if you want something, just email me and let's start talking about a perfect design for you that no one else will have, by the way, just you. Anyway, I struggle. We all struggle in different ways. I know I've learned a lot of my struggle is mental struggle. It's self-imposed struggle. I've talked about this, how I'll be working really hard on something and not getting anywhere on that because there's some kind of block in the way, a wall, I've called it on this show before. There's a wall that I have to break through to get through to something. Either it's a new design or I have to learn something in order to produce the design, or I have to, it applies to any the struggle to record myself on video, for example. I'm like, it's a struggle. It's really hard for me to do. First off, I don't know anyone who really likes what they look like. I mean, I guess some people do, but I mean, I'm not a person who can stare at the mirror all day because, frankly, I've got other shit to do, and I end up doing the other shit. So I'm not really used to looking at myself. So seeing myself on a monitor is weird. And I've had to overcome that. That's a struggle to learn that, but it's learning. And learning isn't really a struggle, because once you've acquired the knowledge and incorporated it in your being, it enhances your life, and it enhances your ability to live, and it enhances your ability to deal with the world and circumstances that come your way. So a little bit of struggle is a good thing, but how much? That's the question. So that's what this show is about. How much do you have to struggle? Should you struggle? I say yes, you should struggle. But the question is how much? And can you control the amount of struggle that you have to do in order to produce the product that you want to make at the end, or the painting, or the jewelry piece, or the photograph, or whatever it is, whatever art you want to make, right? Whatever art you want to make. Can you overcome the struggle does it involve struggle? Do you have to struggle in order to produce it? I think you have to struggle a little bit. Otherwise, there's no value in the product in the end, right? You're making it, if it was too easy to make and there was absolutely no effort in making it, or if the piece could be replicated by a machine a zillion times and it requires no effort after the first one, is that struggle? Is that worth it? Does it add value to the product that's produced? It adds zero value. There's no struggle involved in this kind of manufacturing or production. But when there's a little bit of suffering involved in the process, for whatever reason, if the artist can't get to finish the task because they have a job, or if the family beckons, or if the car breaks down or needs attention instead of the art piece, or whatever. I mean, the struggle to get over that in order to do the thing that you need to do in the studio, that struggle makes your piece better. By the time you get to it, the ideas change slightly. The struggle has polished your idea up and made it better, and made it more convertible into reality, I think. Struggle shakes shit up a bit inside us. And it can allow, it's like the snow globe effect, where you shake it up, and it's like these snow globes, these acrylic balls with like a little scene inside, and when you shake it, snow starts falling everywhere, and it settles back down again. It's like that, but each time it settles down at a different place. All the ideas in your brain that are swirling around in there, all those creative ideas, with the struggle to produce one piece, you start getting other ideas, the struggle scrapes away some of the noise in your brain in order to reveal other ideas in there that can become art and can become things you can do in the future. So you learn along the way while you're struggling to make your art piece. But when does struggle become obsessive or too much, right? I think I found a perfect example of it. But then again, I'm not sure. Anyway, let me tell you about it. So I was on the National Film Board of Canada site. Now, this is our national film board, our film movie company, Canadian National Movie Company, documentaries, all that kind of shit. So I was on their site. I was thinking, you know what? Maybe one day I could make a documentary. See, I'm always thinking about stuff. The struggle reveals stuff in me that I have to do. So I was thinking maybe one day I can make a documentary of all these photos I've shot of in my previous life as a magazine publisher and as a photographer. Like, I've shot tens of thousands of photos in raids and underground warehouse parties in the 90s and the 2000s for Tribe magazine back in the day. And this is an enormous collection of photographs, and it's rare, and It's a national treasure basically, and it's a story of a culture, of a music culture that rose and fell before smartphones, and as a result, it hasn't been captured photographically, except for me, whose whole mission in life at the time, whose struggle at the time, was to try and spread the message of the rave scene and the underground house music scene to Canada, to people in Canada and to people around the world, to show them what kind of an amazing scene we had. So I wandered around these parties for 10 years and into studios and with DJs and just hanging out and photographing these events from the inside. And we became the de facto magazine of underground music culture in Canada for over a decade. DJ culture, the rave scene, that kind of stuff, electronic music. So I have all these photos that are formative to that period, which I'm going to be raising money soon to digitize and then maybe make books or whatever. I was thinking of how best to communicate this collection to Canadians and to people around the world who need to be able to see this amazing hidden civilization that I shot for Tribe magazine back in the day. So there's thousands and thousands and thousands of photographs, and I'm like, oh fuck, this is a big daunting job. It's going to be a struggle. It's going to be a struggle. And the thought of struggle can keep you from doing anything. It's terrifying, right? It's like oh man, it can paralyze you if you think too much about it. It's like pain, right? A lot of the problem with pain is the expectation of it. They've done studies where they found that that's a lot of the deal is in the expectation of you're about to feel pain, and that's where it gets really hairy, But once the pain is happening, you can deal. And it's just the expectation of it, the expectation of the struggle, the whole process of digitizing fucking thousands of images at high resolution and color correcting them and taking the dust off. It's just like that struggle, right? That in my brain, I'm thinking, holy shit, that struggle. So anyway, this is a show about jewelry, so let's get back to that. And I was looking on the National Film Board site, our magnificent National Film Board, and documentaries, because I thought, what if I take these photographs and I weave them into some kind of movie or documentary about that period in time in Canadian history that no one has seen in decades, and no one has these pictures to do this except me. And it would be a way to convert these still images into a video format, almost that, because I don't have video of that period, and very few people do. And if they do, it's really shitty quality. I mean, the equipment was bad back then, so no really good video exists of the period. And it happened at night too, right? So mostly. So it's like, it was in the dark, and camera gear needed to be able to cope with that shit in order to capture it. But luckily mine was still photography equipment, and it could deal with that. It was good gear, good lenses, and I got better the longer I did it. So the photos get really good. And I'm thinking, how can I weave this into a movie? So I'm on the National Film Board site. I'm meandering today for some reason. I'm like, struggle. After you get over struggle, it kind of opens up this meadow of calmness and just you regenerate in the non-struggle periods. But anyway, I was on the Film Board site looking at documentaries just to get an idea of, generally speaking, like I've never made a documentary, so I wanted to know roughly how long should they be, what do they look like, sort of, and I have no idea. I watch documentaries, but I'm looking at it from another angle, right? I'm looking at maybe making one. So I'm looking at the National Film Board site, and I see this movie called Nahanni by Donald Wilder. It's a 1962 documentary, And it's about the legend of a lost gold mine and this old dude, Albert Faley, who goes up this river, the Nahanni River, to see if he can find this gold mine, this hidden gold mine. This is 1962, okay? There's no whitewater rafting expeditions. There's no roads. There's no helicopters. It's just pure Canadian wilderness. And this old guy, Albert Faley, he's in his 70s. He's by himself. And he gets in a small wooden motorboat and he goes up this Nahanni River. Now, I'm going to put a link to this movie, this documentary in the show notes, so you can watch it too if you want. It's free. It's 18 minutes and it's G-rated, but it's intense. I got to tell you, it's intense, especially if you're an old guy like me or feeling your age and you look at this guy. It's incredible. But anyway, let me get back to the story of this Nahanni. So the reason why I once knew a young woman named Nahanni, and I thought that was a strange name, and I thought it might have been from British Columbia or something, and I was like, no, but it's a river in the Northwest Territories, and this documentary takes you up this river as this guy goes up this river in this rowboat to try and find this hidden gold mine. He's got his mind set on it, and he's by himself, and he's going upriver. And the Canadian wilderness, you get to see Canadian wilderness in its full majesty in this documentary. Areas, just rivers, trees, like power, just the awesome freaking power of this river. And this little old guy going up it to find the gold, right? It's intense. I was watching this and it was, every few minutes I'm like, dude, go back, go back, give up already, go back. And he won't. He just keeps going. You got to see it. But it's made me think about all kinds of things, right? Like, it's like, when do you stop? When do you stop trying to achieve something? Do you ever? I don't think I've ever stopped trying to achieve something. I changed my mind, but I've never stopped. I never stop. Nothing can stop me. And in fact, if people tell me you can't do something, that's a trigger for me, because immediately I have to prove that I can do it, right? So maybe it's like this guy, this old prospector dude, looking for gold. Maybe that's like you too, also. Looking for whatever you're looking for. Nothing can stop you. Even struggle. So, this documentary, I was thinking it's 18 minutes long, and I'm still thinking about it a week later. Like, I'd never even heard of it before. So I'm like, oh wow, a small documentary with a focused subject can really communicate a message. Like, there's so many messages communicated in this little documentary that I'm thinking, oh my God, like, this is an art too, right? I don't know if I'll make a documentary, but I'm sure glad I saw that one, I'm sure glad I saw that one. So my struggle has been, since Christmas, recording myself on video over and over and over and deleting it. Looking at, lighting myself from different angles. First off, I hate photographing myself. So spending months lighting myself and photographing myself just for practice, basically, it's a struggle. But I've done it, I'm doing it, and I'm getting a little better at it, I gotta say. So I'm going to launch a fundraising campaign next week on Indiegogo to raise money to digitize all these old pictures, right, from all these old photographs from Tribe magazine. It's a daunting project. So I'm going to be I've recorded myself to do like a pre-launch video, which they suggest you do, and then a launch video. I had no idea it was all so complicated. But if you're ever trying to raise money on one of these platforms, there's a whole system and a way to do it. And so I'm following that, but I want to add my own thing to it, and make it appropriate to what I'm trying to do. So anyway, the idea here is to raise the funds to digitize this archive, this magazine photographic archive, and the purpose would be for books or documentary films, or in the future maybe people are always approaching me for these photographs, right? I have movie companies coming at me. Do you have any photographs of the period? I do, yeah, but they're not digitized, right? So that's the struggle there. That's like the guy going up the river in his boat. Let me tell you, there's not only the actual the travel time in that, but it's the mental freaking outness of actually even getting started on a project that big. It's like, and that's the struggle for me. That's the wall that I call the wall, getting through the wall. But anyway, I'm almost through, and it's taken a lot of work and a lot of practice to record myself on video. And you might even hate it when you see it, but I don't care, because I'll know it's the best I can do right now. And I'm putting it out there, rain or shine or whatever, next week. So that's what I've been doing. But while I've been doing that, I've been making jewelry. Here we are at 21 minutes, and I haven't even spoken about jewelry yet. I'm casting these huge indica leaves, or not casting them yet in precious metal, but doing work on the design of them and testing them out in plastic to make sure that they're functional, right? And I've got these enormous, I have a plant growing in the tent. It's, the leaves are freakishly indica. I mean, they're fat. They're short, fat leaves with serrated edges. They're the typical indica leaf shape, which is fatter than the sativa leaf shape, which is long and thin. So I was thinking, fuck, this would make a great belt buckle. So I've been working on belt buckle designs to make use of these fat leaves while I still have them on the plant, before they die and the plant gets put in the ground outside when it warms up a bit. But anyway, I snipped off some of these leaves, and I'm working with just modeling them into belt buckles, and these belt buckles are just crazy. But the thing is, the leaves, cannabis leaves, have serrated edges and points too, right? So this is going to be a pointy belt buckle. If you go on our Instagram account, I'll put up some pictures of what I'm talking about here. But these are going to be, you won't be able to wear the big sharp ones every day. But I mean, on stage, well, this is just going to be a crazy, amazing belt buckle. Just fantastic. Like a cowboy trophy sized belt buckle, but made out of a single sterling silver indica leaf. Like, it's just incredible. And all the details all captured in the leaf. It's just, these are fantastic, but they're huge, and they have serrated edges that I'm trying to work out the design to smooth them out a little bit so that they don't catch on sweaters and stuff like that when the person's wearing them. What I'll do later today is put up a video on our Instagram feed, which is at TRIBEDOTCA. That's at TRIBEDOTCA. What that means is tribe.ca. We're the Cannabis Goldsmith. We make the most amazing jewelry from live cannabis plants and cast it in precious metals. We ship to clients all around the world. If you want us to make something special, send me an email, alexd@cannabisgoldsmith.com. So the buckles, okay. I've got the buckle, the master prototype down for the big full leaf buckle, and it's heavy. It'll be about 140 grams, maybe more in weight, so it's heavy. but it's big. And on jeans, on stage, on any kind of, like, this is not for a dress pants kind of situation or a suit. Although it would rock. It would just take a suit to another level, I think. No, it fits on a 1.5-inch belt. It's a beautiful, beautiful piece. So I'm still working on that, but the struggle, I think, is over now. I've worked out all the design issues to the extent they can be worked out. So on this plastic model that I'm working on, I design in plastic here in the Thousand Islands area of Ontario. I don't do much precious metal stuff here. That all happens in Toronto, but here I design the master models in these plastics that I work on. And I do that because throwing hot metal around is something I don't want to do in the studio here. It's you need a specialized equipment and stuff for it that I don't have here, and that I don't want to be dealing with anyway. So I'm making these master models that are Master Goldsmith reproduces in Toronto in precious metals. And so, but the original plastic designs allow me to fuck with them, right? If it's not working, I can change it. I can experiment. I've put these belt buckles on a belt, right? They'll work. They're functional. Not for, you can't wear them because they're not meant for that. They're meant to be cast in precious metal. But you can throw it on a belt to see how it looks or feels or whatever in plastic, just to get a vibe from it, right? It's a prototype, basically. Prototyping, they call it. Prototyping designs. So I'm totally happy with that one. And then because it's too big, I cut it in half, and I've just got another buckle that's just the tip of this big leaf, or another similar size big leaf. And it's also something else. So I'll put you'll see that in the video I'll post on the Instagram account. And the difference is that the whole leaf has points on both ends, and half leaf has points on one end. It has, because if you cut a leaf in half, it has this sort of arrowhead look to it, and it looks like it's going somewhere. It has a speed effect to it. It looks like movement. It's interesting. You'll see. Have a look. Also, watch this documentary about this old guy, Albert Faley. I wonder if he ever found his gold. And it occurred to me that he didn't have to find it. That just trying was all he wanted to do. He wanted to try to find it. Maybe that gave him purpose. I don't know. I'm still thinking about that documentary. And also thinking about if I could make a documentary that short that was that packed with meaning, right? This is 18 minutes. Okay, I do a 30-minute podcast and try and build stories into that, but to do it on videos is something I've not even considered before. Anyway, that's it for me. Yeah, today, oh God, today I'm going to go in and work on the buckles again a little bit more. I'm going to start fixing up the beds, the beds outside since it's warming up. I might get out there and dig some manure into the beds for the weed plants. I've got 4 awesome weed plants that are going to be going out into the ground, which we can do in Canada. And they're going to be producing magnificent leaves for the products that we make this year. Hopefully, if the critters don't eat them, and if the weather permits, and farming's hard. It's a struggle. Anyway, struggle. It can be something that can drive you nuts. It can set you on a path that you can't get off of. Or it can hone your skills to a very sharp point where you can use them to struggle in other directions. Struggle is good. And when the struggle is over, and you have this beautiful open meadow of peace and non-struggle that you can sit down in the sun for a moment and enjoy, that's what it's all about. Also, The struggle allows you to produce the best products you can possibly make, I think, and the best art that can be. Struggle. It ain't pleasant, but I think it's good for us. I'll see you next week. The Cannabis Goldsmith is produced by Tribe Communications, Inc. in the Thousand Islands area of Ontario, Canada. You can see what we do at tribe.ca. Send us an email, alexd@cannabisgoldsmith.com. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week on the Cannabis Goldsmith.